what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
We'll try not to too much talk over each other, but again, we are girls and we are
Agree to disagree.
Okay, moving on.
Well, the makeup bottle.
A little.
It's like a ripped out T-bird, some grease.
Yeah, I can
You
see
know,
that.
she's got that black hair.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to ChickChat here on themesh.tv. Thank you for joining us, probably from your home, because I still think you should be at home during a quarantine. Even though some of you are probably opening back up, I want you to hold your horses and sit down and listen to ChickChat for a little while. Thanks for being here today. We've got a whole bunch of stuff on themesh.tv that you should check out sometime. We're a podcast network. We've got completely unique content that is basically just fun to sit and listen to at home. We got something for everybody. So definitely go check out that site and enjoy one of your favorite shows. But for now, I want you to welcome Janette. Hey, girl, what up?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Well, I guess how are you doing today?
I'm good. Moose is here, but we keep him on silent
You
because
do.
that's what we do. It's a girl show, and we only chime in when we need boy opinions. But I'm here. I'm doing well. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Absolutely. It's a nice little break from reality because let's face it, reality right now kind of sucks.
Yes. I've been finding interesting little news tidbits that are just, fun, but not too serious. And I've just kind of been
Yeah,
into those. Sometimes they're connected to the seriousness, but they're so outrageous that they just make me laugh because it's like,
agreed.
what else are you gonna do? I've I've
What
taken
else
to
can
stop
you do
watching the
right now?
news, so I've got to have some
I
lightheartedness.
mean, the people, you know what? People be crazy right now.
So crazy. I mean, and I know we've got stuff to talk about, and I'm hoping this is on your list, but the crazy
Go
thing,
for it, girl.
the crazy thing this week that made me go, what? And then kind of laugh. It's not funny, but it's a little outrageous. It's one of those outrageous things. Our faves from Big Brother, Mike Boogie and Dr. Will, no longer friends.
Shut up. I haven't seen
You
this.
haven't seen this. Oh, see, this is what happens when I'm searching for lightheartedness, useless information that's
What?
connected to everything else going on. Yes. So, do you want to talk about it now or
Yes, go.
okay? So, according to the news and word on the street, so Mike Boogie and Dr. Will from Big Brother was it season 1 or 2? Season 2, I believe. Chilltown, early
I
season.
think so. I
One of
think
the
so.
earliest seasons. So, and they did All Stars and all that. So they were Chilltown, and we thought they'd forever be Chilltown and, walk off into the sunset together. But apparently, Dr. Will has a restraining order against Mike Boogie. This all came about because he was on a podcast. Mike Boogie was on a podcast
Not
with
on ChickChat.
he was not on Chick Chat, but I'm almost thinking we could get him on Chick Chat to talk
I
about
think
this.
now might be the time.
Now might be the time to reach out. So, story goes, he was on a podcast about something else, talking about this newest season of Big Brother that's coming up. And um, he had made reference to Swaggy C and I forget the girl's name, but it's one of the
Bailey.
Bailey. And about, their placement on the show and stuff. And it was it was racist in tone, I guess, the way he said it. But Swaggy C or Bailey or whoever responded and took a kind of a passive aggressive shot at legal troubles that he's in now. And so I was kind of like,
Boogie.
what? So, you know me,
That Mike Boogie's in?
got Mike Boogie's in. So I dug
Oh,
around a little bit. I'm going to do my research and be like,
absolutely.
because it mentioned in the article about Dr. Will having a restraining order. And I'm like, this can't be the same Dr. Will, right? How many Dr. Wills are there? But they can't be the same one. So I poked around. Apparently, a few years ago, CBS reached out to Mike Boogie and Dr. Will and asked them if they wanted to participate together as a team on The Amazing Race, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved because I'm a big fan of Amazing Race and I'm a fan of I was a fan of those two together as a team. It would have been
Would have been
hilarity.
on board for that all day long.
Right.
Yes.
It would have been great. Mike Boogie was all for it. Dr. Will was kind of like, nah, kind of over this. Right? Not as like,
Yeah.
I don't think it was as a dig towards Mike Boogie, but just kind of like, I've moved on to other things. I'm married now. I have kids. I have a practice. He does some type of entertainment related things, but not like he did when he was younger, right?
Yeah.
So apparently this, and this is why we need Mike on the show, because this is my perspective from the outside looking in and reading these articles. I need to know his side of the story, and we need
Yeah.
Dr. Will on for his side of it too, of course. But what I guess the short side of it is did not go over well with Mike Boogie, and he ended up threatening Dr. Will, and not only were threatening Dr. Will, but threatening his kids.
What?
Right. So, like, I know where they go to school and I know where you guys live and all this crazy stuff, which prompted Dr. Will to take out a restraining order. And I guess there have been charges pending against him or something. I don't
What?
know. I mean, it's not only no longer friends, it's like dunzo. Like, I don't see there being a chance of reconciliation once you go towards the kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. I know we're talking about Mike Boogie here, a grown ass man that calls
Right.
himself Mike Boogie in third person most of the time. I don't, I don't, I don't know. I mean, like, I get he's a little extreme sometimes, but going after his kids, like, that's a little intense, right?
It's very intense over Amazing Race.
And yeah, and
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know
I
Dr.
don't,
Will's reasons for not wanting to do it. The public would. I mean, we the public would have loved it, of course. But if he says no, he says no. He doesn't. Maybe he just didn't want to get stuck in that. We don't know what's going on in his life, and
right.
if
No, this is all brand new and bizarre to me
yeah,
and a little sad.
very sad.
I love those two together. I could watch that little Chilltown montage that somebody put together years ago of their
Yeah.
time in the house. I could watch that over and over all day long.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
and we
But
might just have to watch it for for the sake of reminiscing because Chilltown is no longer.
oh, well, so what do you know about the upcoming season, if there is going to be one or not, of Big Brother?
I don't know anything except I think did I read the other day that it's not going to be All Star?
Well, I know there was buzz recently about it being All Star, but then, of course, production stuff is so crazy because of COVID-19 things. But then there were all these quote unquote All Stars, from previous seasons that were saying, we haven't been contacted, we're not in it, we're not in it, we're not in it. And so then everybody was kind of like, well, what kind of All Star season is this if you don't have any of these people? So I don't know. But I did hear that somebody said that Derek was going to be in it and that like Frankie Grande or whatever his name is was going to be in it. But I haven't heard any more. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Big Brother is a quarantine, isn't it? I mean, Big Brother is quarantine.
If there's going to be a reality show that could work, Big Brother is it, because basically you would just quarantine them for 14 days or longer before they get in the house to make sure they don't
Which
have
they
anything.
usually do almost anyway, right? It may not be 14 days.
Right. They'd have to do testing. They're not
Yes.
coming into contact with anybody but themselves. So if there's any type of show that could happen right now, I would think it would be Big Brother.
Totally. Yeah. And
I don't know.
and even then the production and crew are behind glass walls.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't even come in contact with cameramen or production stuff,
Right.
So yeah, I've often thought, I was like, why is somebody not jumping on this? But who knows? I don't understand much these days. And now you have squashed me even more with the fact that Mike Boogie and Dr. Will are not friends.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it hit me hard when I read it.
No kidding. It's a gut punch
Yeah, I
right
was like,
now.
there's no way. There's no way. This has to be. And I mean, it went so far as I even was like, is this a joke site? Is this? And I found it on several. Is this the Onion? Because I want to make sure I'm not reading something that's fake news, right? So,
Totally.
but then I found it on several other sites, and so supposedly it's a true story. But
I'll tell you, between
yeah,
quarantining and the racial problems in this world and the murder hornets and some big sandstorm that's apparently coming to take everybody down, and then the fact that we saw like a UFO video in March or something, and
what?
everybody just ignored it. Yeah, like there was some major release of like a UFO video of some like governmental release of a UFO video, and everybody just chucked it up to, oh well, just one more thing for quarantine time. Like nobody took it as a big deal. And it's I can't even focus on what I'm supposed to do or follow these days because everything has been turned upside down. And like ChickChat is not the place to get into all the nasty details of stuff, but unfortunately it affects everything that we talk about. Like all of our entertainment news is now completely different in how we talk about things because of how that is all connected together, right? So,
Right.
I mean, we have to address the fact that Vanderpump Rules is essentially no more.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth with this one.
I don't know what's going to happen. Like,
Well,
I am anxious to hear your point of view on this. First of all, I don't want you to be uncomfortable in any way, but I want to hear your point of view. And I want to discuss what you think is this show going to look like going forward, and does it have the opportunity to go forward?
so yes, I do think it has an opportunity to go forward. Do I think it'll look different? Absolutely, but I think it's okay. I think like anything, it's going to take some adjusting, but I think they can pull it off.
So, as a quick recap, we know that. So, did you watch the reunion, first of all?
Yeah,
Holy crap, what a dumpster fire that was.
it was a mess. It was a tragic mess.
Okay, so let's just okay, we're going to do just real quick here. So this recap has happened. And last time that we talked on this episode, we had seen the previews for this reunion. It's a 3-week event. Like they had to have 3 separate reunion shows. Okay? So we've now watched them, and all kinds of nastiness comes out, right? So
Right.
much. And so, aside from all the standard Vanderpump Rules dirt, such as Kristen hooking up with Max and other dumb stuff, there was a portion where they addressed that both Max and Brent, whatever, had some inappropriate tweets that they put out years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they addressed it during the reunion. The 2 guys apologized. Lisa addressed it as well and said that, she understands their character and that this was a long time ago and that they've, things change and blah, 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 whatever. Well, then shortly after the reunion, it comes out that Brett and Max have been fired from the show, along with now Stassi and Kristen are
Mm-hmm.
also fired based on an event that took place with Faith, who used to be on the show.
Yeah.
And Faith is also the one, just for my clarity, right? Like, make sure I'm remembering this right. Faith is the one that Jax cheated with, correct?
Cheated on Brittany with, yes.
Yes. Okay. Just
But
making
he's
sure.
cheated before
Now,
on several people. This was the time he
correct.
cheated on Brittany, yes.
This is with the one he cheated on, the girl he's married to now.
Yes.
So, okay. So please continue your thoughts.
So I'm not overly upset with the firings. To me,
Sure.
it has always been um they've always been quote unquote mean girls. And
100%.
Stassi has been teetering on that line of inappropriateness in what she says and thinking it's a joke or it's funny or it's not completely racist. Because I mean, she has her own podcast, which
Yeah.
we can argue she wouldn't have without Vanderpump Rules and her book as well.
Sure.
And she's
Sure.
made some controversial statements before, had some controversial posts. I mean, I remember seeing the Nazi chic Instagram post before it was even talked about with her being fired, and I was
Yeah.
like, not quite sure anybody would want to be associated with being a Nazi, but I mean, if Stassi's cool with it, then whatever. Not a
Right.
style I would go for. Um, and probably not the smartest thing to post.
Yeah.
Um, the whole thing when there was, I mean, if you remember, there was this movement where they called the Oscars "Oscar So White" hashtag Oscar So White because there wasn't,
Yeah.
yeah, there wasn't a nominee or a movie with anyone with a person of color in any type of role, whether it was leading or supporting.
Yes.
Um, so she made some statements about that as well. And I remember hearing about that. So it's kind of like she's always teetered virtually on that line. To me, the faith thing does hit, yes, there's a tone of racism in what they did because they saw a picture of a black woman and then they told the cops it was Faith. Jack's accusing Faith of stealing his car. Things like that. Yes, it has a racist undertone, but it's also mean. Even if
Yeah.
Faith wasn't
Yeah.
black, you reporting someone for a crime, and calling the police on them, contacting the military and saying they're AWOL, simply for the fact that your friend who sleeps around with everybody cheated on another one of your friends is just mean. It's
Yeah.
it's inappropriate regardless of who you do it to. So that's a serious that could have serious consequences for anybody, even if it
Mm.
turned out to not be true, and in this case it was not true. The fact that
Right.
this person's life has been interrupted by a police investigation, a military investigation, we don't know what implications it would have had to her and her family and her life and her job. I mean, anything could have happened, and you're reporting a crime. You're reporting somebody for a crime simply because you want to get back at someone. They are in their mid to late 30s. It is way too old to be doing things. You're way too old to be acting like
Yeah.
that. And saying, I didn't know the consequences. How could you not? How do
Right.
you not know the consequences of calling the police on somebody when they have done nothing other than sleep with your friend? Who
Right.
instigated it? Wasn't like Faith went over to his house. Faith came over to hers. And I don't like, I this is part of the reason I've cleansed myself of Facebook and all social media. I'm still keeping up with friends and things, but I've really scaled back because of just the hatefulness that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear people saying, "Oh, it's not going to be the same show without Stassi." And why is Faith bringing this up now? Faith is bringing this up now because she was asked. It wasn't like she popped up out of the woodwork and say, "Oh, I've got a story to tell you all." She was on a podcast or she was on an Instagram live with someone else from MTV, and they asked her a question and she recited the story that Stassi actually bragged about this on her own podcast.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
actually bragged about it before Faith ever said anything. And Faith said, I know this is true because I heard it from Stassi on her podcast. So
Sure.
Stassi has never been afraid to do anything because nothing's ever happened to her for doing it. So I feel like she was in this position of where she felt like I can do what I want and nothing's going to happen because I'm Stassi.
Right.
Because nothing ever has. And now all of
Well,
a sudden
and
she's getting there are repercussions for what she's done. And it's like
yeah.
everyone's like, oh, boo hoo, poor Stassi. People change. She's 34 35 years old, whatever old she is. I don't even know. She's in her 30s.
Oh, 100% because Jax is 40.
Yeah. She if she didn't know, then I feel sorry for her. She should know what those type of actions are going to do by this
Right.
time.
Well, so you touched on it towards the beginning of this, like, and I think you and I might feel the same way about this. The thing is like you said, it's unfortunate that this happened. And during this state of our nation, if you will, in the way it is right now, it's unfortunate that this happened and there were racial undertones to it, right?
Right.
The main gist of it is no matter when it happened or no matter who it happened to or what color of their skin it is, it's a mean and an inappropriate thing to do.
Right.
Like it would have been inappropriate for them to call the cops on Brittany,
Anybody.
right?
Yeah.
Anybody. I mean, we were taught from a very young age you can't accidentally call 911. Or not accidentally, you can't fake call 911, right?
Right.
Because you can get in trouble. And this is like to a whole nother level. It's just the mean girl thing, like you said. Now, yes, now it has different meanings because of the stuff that's been going on and the issues that people have had with police and and how it's everything that's just happened. Like I can't even go into everything, but the timing of it is kind of coming out and really sticking it to her, even though it should have been done a lot sooner.
Right.
So yeah, it's an overall mean girl act, and I'm not surprised at all by Stassi doing it because of her personality, but also I'm not surprised at all by Kristen
Oh no.
doing this either. I don't like Kristen anyway.
No.
But so let's talk about how Vanderpump Rules is going to move forward. Now, clearly, they have a large enough cast, right? Like they can totally handle this.
Sure.
The show can continue, and that's not a big deal. But I guess what I'm thinking is more the overall tone. I mean, there are people out there being fired or cut or released or whatever you want to call it from their reality shows left and right.
Yeah.
We've seen MTV do it, Bravo do it. Everybody's really digging deep into this stuff. And so not only is production going to change because of COVID, now we have, people's histories and inappropriate comments or, inappropriate behavior and stuff that's being finally called out. And it's going to change the face of everything.
Oh, absolutely. And
hopefully for the better, obviously.
yeah, oh yeah, obviously. And I do think Vanderpump Rules can go on. And I think now, I mean, this show's been on 7 years. And like I said, they're all in their 30s or 40s, which is why I think they introduced younger cast members this time.
Yes, I
Trying to
agree.
get
And
the-
I'll tell you
trying-
what,
yeah, trying to expand their demographic because I do think the demographic is now 30 and 40-year-old, primarily
Yes.
women probably who are watching
Yeah.
this. And I think they are trying to expand it. And I love Charlie. Can I just say I love Charlie? So I wouldn't hate
Charlie calling Jax out as a old man made me chuckle loudly. Like it
Oh.
was perfect because she says something like, I don't know who this 50-year-old man is and blah, blah, blah.
I didn't go to his pool party because I didn't want to go to my grandpa's pool party or whatever she said.
Hilarious, and it's, they definitely have this now. Unfortunately, they tried to bring in Max and Brett for a little bit more of that hot guy factor, and those aren't going to be there. But Sir and Tom Tom and Villa Blanca and everywhere else, they all have plenty of hot guys to
Plenty
choose
of hot
from.
guys, plenty of young people. And I think that's how they're going to pivot. I would not be surprised if Vanderpump Rules season started out, and I think because I'm going to be honest, I do think eventually Jax and Brittany will be fired prior to the season starting.
Really?
I do. Jax is just there's too much. Jax has
Jack
done
is in
the
the hot
same
seat for
thing that
sure.
yeah, Jax has done the same thing that Stassi and Kristen did. Essentially, he accused
Yeah,
her of stealing a car. He's said racial things as well. I think Bravo was holding back because they didn't want to be like a bam 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 like we're firing the whole show. I
yeah,
think they
yeah,
want to think of I think the way they're going to handle it is I my theory is they'll shift from Sir to Tom Tom, have the show essentially around Tom Tom, that core four as far as Tom Sandoval and Ariana, and then Tom Schwartz and Katie. I
yes,
think they'll be the like the key figures, but then they'll introduce their younger staff, like a Charlie,
yeah,
like some of their younger crew, and then Lisa will of course show up because it's still Vanderpump Rules because she's still the primary owner of the
yeah.
restaurant slash bar.
You
Um,
know what? I would watch a Tom Tom show
oh my gosh, I would
all day
love
long.
a Tom Tom, but that's
That's
how you get Jax out because he really plays no part because and he's already admitted that he's not friends with Tom Sandoval anymore.
yeah, he just brings the drama,
He
which
just
is
brings the
why
drama.
obviously he's stayed on this long.
I think they would probably what I think they would probably do is they'd fire Jax. And without Jax, let's be honest, Brittany really doesn't have a storyline. Uh,
No, she's only there because of Jackson. They've
right,
adjusted her into the life, but
right.
that's it.
But that's it. No Jax and not being friends with Tom Sandoval really doesn't leave a lot for Brittany to do. So I could see
Yeah,
her maybe not being fired, but I could see her being fired because she's been accused of some things too. But if she's not fired, I see her being reduced to friend of the show.
sure. And I think Brittany's the type too that if Jax isn't on the show, she's not going to go showing up to people's houses to be filmed.
Right, without Jax.
You know, she the only time when she shows up at like girls' night, right?
Yeah,
She shows up at girls' night. All they end up doing is bitching about Jax, and then Brittany sits there trying to defend him.
right.
Like when they went out to the beach and did the cleanup or whatever, you know, all she does is sit there and defend Jax. So she doesn't have, now that her wedding is done, they don't have any other storyline with her.
Right.
I
Well, I
love
think the
Dana,
next storyline probably was Stassi's wedding, but yeah, that's done.
right? And even that, even if all this had not happened with Stassi, now that's even pushed out even further because of the COVID stuff.
Right.
Stassi and Lala.
Yeah, and I do think this opens up the opportunity for Lala and
Yeah,
even Sheena, who, she could go away and I'd be okay. But
I'd be okay with that.
I think they have to give her another chance just of everything that went on with that producer and editing. Like,
Yeah,
give her another opportunity. And if she's still the same Sheena, then, we can, whatever. But she does
sure.
have a cute new boyfriend. So we think that's an opportunity for those two to have a more prominent role. And then
Yeah.
we still have Lala's wedding to look forward to.
You know, I love Lala and
I do.
Randall.
I like her now. I like Lala and I was a little iffy on the Lala and Randall thing in the beginning, but
Well,
actually
because I thought
seeing
it was a
them,
joke.
yeah.
I thought she was like using him. I thought it
Oh
was
yeah.
I didn't think it was real. But
100%.
she has more than proven that they're awesome together.
Oh yeah. And I think having him on the show and seeing their relationship helped me because I was
Me
just kind of
too.
like, she went in there and she's marrying this guy. Yeah, whatever. Because she has a
Yeah.
private jet now. Of course she is. And I'm gonna say I don't hate a James Kennedy, sober James Kennedy and Raquel either. I
I
could,
love a sober James Kennedy.
yeah. So,
I think he's pretty sharp when he's sober. I think he's
funny.
very witty. I think he's funny. I think he's fairly classy at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of comes across very intelligent when he's sober.
Yeah.
And I hope what I would love to see is sober James really kick off the whole DJing thing back at Sir and kind of have that dynamic there because that's where he's the happiest.
Oh yeah.
And he's so like alive and such a people pleaser whenever he's doing that. Then you add the sober factor on top. And, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Raquel and in general, but what she's done with James has been nothing short of like phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I've never been a huge fan of Raquel, but seeing her the last episodes with him being sober and
Yes.
with the reunion, I'm I'm open to, like, I want to give her another chance and see how she is when she's not having to apologize for James. Like, to me,
Same. It's just
Brittany
like
and Jax
Whitney with
have
Jack.
yeah, Brittany and Jax have turned into the Jax acts out of pocket, and then Brittany goes around on an apology tour for her. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I would love to see Raquel and James interaction as main characters without her having to walk around and fight with everybody about what James said and what his true heart is and how he should be given all these other chances. I would love the opportunity to see a Raquel just being Raquel and being friends with the
Absolutely.
rest of the girls, because I think
Well, again, when you get rid of
have that too.
Stassi, well, when you get rid of Stassi and you get rid of Kristen, just those two people free up so much space
Yes.
on that show that I would be here for a Tom Tom vibe to the whole thing to serve as sort of the elders of the group.
Yeah.
And then I love Dana. I think she's, going to be. I'm not saying I love necessarily her personality, but I think she adds to the show to fill a void.
Yeah.
And so I think she's going to be a key player. Sheena, I don't care for, but she's plays that part perfectly, right?
Yeah.
And so keep all that. I do think it's going to go on. I think they're just going to have to kind of shift and pivot their focus a little bit on, like you said, maybe I would be totally down for a Tom Tom focus.
Yeah. Most of the things happen at Tom Tom. Yeah, I would
Totally.
be okay with that. And even if you're at Sir, we still have Peter. So, I
Yeah,
mean, we could bring him back into the fold. I mean, he doesn't
get
add a
him a
lot,
little.
but
Yeah, get him a little more involved. Sheena's at Sir.
yeah.
Dana's at Tom Tom
Bartending.
now, bartending.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah, she said that during the reunion. She's now bartending at Tom Tom, so therefore she works for Max.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think there's plenty to go on, but it will be interesting for sure to see how everything moves forward. And they're going to have to address the COVID side of things because obviously it's a restaurant and they were shut down for so long.
Right.
But it'll be interesting. I will be chomping at the bit to see that. So we've addressed Big Brother, we've addressed Vanderpump Rules. Kind of on the same concept, but how we're seeing a shift in a lot of things, the way people do things. First of all, again, from COVID, because people are having to shift how they operate business and how they do things and how they interact with people. And it's an adjustment, but I think we can get through it, right? At least until there's some sort of vaccine going on. But now with some of the racial issues that have been put out in the entertainment world, I'd say, obviously there's way bigger fish to fry that are out there on the large scale, right? And again, I don't know that ChickChat is the place to go into that, but when it affects the entertainment industry, we can talk about it here. So, did you hear that the Dixie Chicks changed their name?
I did. I heard they changed their name. Lady Antebellum changed their name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
I mean, I understand it. I'm going to be honest, as the person of color on this podcast, I never really took a negative connotation from their names. I mean,
I guess that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Did the term Dixie Chicks offend you in the first place?
I don't think their name offended me because I knew based on their music and their statements who they were, and I took Dixie to just mean Southern.
Right.
To referring to it that way. Lady Antebellum, I'm gonna be honest, I knew what antebellum meant, but I don't think a lot of people do. So, and again, I know their music and and just the statements that they've made in the past,
right?
Even prior
Sure.
to all this, that I didn't. Again, I took it to mean a Southern, type of thing.
Of course,
But
to relate to country music, which is where both of them
Right.
had their bases start.
Right. I'm sure some people, when Lady Antebellum changed her name, they're like, "What? Why?
Why?
I
What does that word mean?
what?
What was
Look
wrong
up
about it?
Antebellum. What does that mean?" But um, so so I never took it, but I do applaud them for addressing it and understanding, because I do think, sometimes things are done without thinking about how it
Yeah,
affects other people. Um, and how other people feel about it. And again, I personally, just because I knew who, I mean, some people of color may not even know who the Dixie Chicks or Lady Antebellum are. I happen to
sure.
like country music, so I did know.
Yeah,
I never again, because I had known who they were from previous things, never took it as a, oh my gosh, this is a racist type
right.
of group. I just think they did it not thinking about it. And,
Yeah. And you know, to play off that a little bit, and the devil's advocate of it, I guess, is like you said, the background of it can have a different meaning to different people, right?
right.
So some people may find it offensive, but some people may not. I mean, they don't find it offensive because, like you said, you understood maybe the background of where they came from, who they were, what type of music they were doing. And it's definitely, that's where everything can get cloudy for people, right? Like
Yeah.
there's just the, you say this, no, I say this, and nobody's opinion seems to matter these days, as their own. And which is what's one of the hardest things for me, is like, I believe everybody's opinion is their own, and they're fine to that. They're fine to have their opinion. Um, you know, I'm like you, I applaud the Dixie Chicks for doing this. Now the Chicks, I applaud them for doing it as it's almost like they're doing it like a solidarity type thing.
Right.
Um, but did I take that connotation in the past? No, I didn't. Um, and I'm not a person of color, but I also I also am somebody from the South who doesn't like to be associated with rednecks. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I
there's
do.
there's that connotation too. Like I don't want to be associated with somebody just because I'm from the South. They
Yeah.
think that I'm redneck, not by nature. So anyway, it's rambling on, but I was just curious, like how you felt about that. Like solid effort, and thank you for doing this. But it is good to hear from you that maybe you weren't necessarily pointing fingers at them first thing.
Right. And I will admit, when I first heard the name the Dixie Chicks, I was like, oh, okay. But then I heard their music, I was like, oh, okay. Like, whatever.
Right.
Uh,
And I think they've kind of they've been around a long time, right? I mean,
right.
it, and they've seen their fair share of controversy.
Oh, sure. Over
Um,
several things. Yeah. So we definitely know where their heart is. But
Absolutely. Right. So, I look at this, like I said, as more of a movement of solidarity, and like bravo to them for stepping up and doing it.
yeah.
Same with Lady Antebellum. So what, they're now like Lady A, right?
Yes.
Just Lady A,
Yes. So,
which a lot of people called them that anyway.
right. Yeah. Um, I think what this whole thing has done, like with the name changes, is it's just opened their people's eyes to how other people, if they care, if they're a caring person,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
how things can be, how other people can perceive things, I guess. 'Cause, like,
Absolutely.
I had this, I was, looking through Facebook and some friends post and different people posting different things, and part of me wanted to join in, but I'm like, no, I'm not even getting into, I'm
Don't
not
do
getting
it.
involved. I'm staying far away from the fray. But
Don't
like,
do it.
this is not like entertainment, this is sports related, but like everyone's been going back and forth this week about the whole NASCAR news thing
Bubba.
and Bubba Wallace, and
Yep.
how the FBI completed their investigation and found that it was just a a um a garage door pull or whatever, what have you. But then the
Yes.
picture
Yes.
came out of it yesterday, and it is fashioned in a noose. Now,
Yes. I saw the
just
picture.
just for everyone else's reference out there, as a person of color, I can tell you this. No matter why it's there, if it's fashioned into a door pull for a handle or any type of pull, a noose knot tie is not the easiest or even the strongest thing that you can tie to secure a door, right?
Mhm.
As a person of color, I will tell you, when I walk into any place and I see anything fashioned into a noose, it it does have a reaction in me. It does
Mhm.
put me on high alert.
Yeah.
It does have a certain type of connotation to me because I've fashioned ropes to pull on things before. I have never
Sure.
fashioned anything into a noose.
Well,
There's a
who
bowline
does?
tie, right?
That's what I don't understand.
That takes
Who
time,
does that?
and that takes time, right?
I
Why
don't.
not a
I
simple
don't want
knot?
to ever see it.
And the fact that no other garage door in that track area had a door pull fashioned into a noose. His was
Yeah.
the only one. Regardless of whether it had been there since 2019, 2018, it was there. And he admittedly said, I didn't see it, but he apparently saw the picture of it. And his team was concerned enough to say, whoa.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
fact that certain people can walk by noose type things and not have any type of reaction to it, I will
Right.
always notice a noose. Just
Yeah.
right. Like, I'm always going to be like, now, that's not to say that does it have a negative connotation? Yes. Are there times when a noose has to be used? I understand that, but I'm
Right.
not, but that's not really the general way people would fashion a handle to pull a garage door closed. And I
Right.
say this because his was the only one done that way. The others weren't. There's bow lines you can tie. There's simple knots that you can tie that take less time and are
Yeah.
just as, and even if just the rope is hanging loosely, you can still pull the door down, right? So,
Right.
I mean, as future reference, it is going to have an effect on somebody by seeing a noose.
Yes.
Um,
And and I guess, you know, I just don't understand how I I I think obviously in the time and the situation, him being like pretty much the only African American driver
yeah,
in NASCAR right now,
yeah,
and then he had just recently gone through the process of really fighting to get the Confederate flag removed from NASCAR stuff. To then see this in your garage, right, at the
yeah,
track, your bay, your only one. And I'm so glad that team members who are not people of color were affected by this too.
yes,
Because, like you said, seeing a noose to anybody should be a kind of a gross feeling,
an alarm,
right?
alarming, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that should be a gross feeling to anybody. And then to have it happen to the person of color who has just kind of won the battle about getting the Confederate flag taken down, and like it just that all adds up to me, not in a good way, right?
right,
So it just, I read the whole thing about like, oh, it's been there since 2018 or whenever the year was, and I don't know, I just didn't quite buy all of it.
I'm still going, why? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. I just didn't really buy it that much. Like I don't know. I don't I don't know how to tie a noose, nor do I have a
Oh,
reason to
same,
do that.
same,
So
yeah,
I don't see, I don't know. Like I said, I saw a picture and that sure as hell looks like a damn fine noose. That is that is not just a rope with a circle at the end and then a knot at the top. Like
right.
this was legit noose structure.
Yes. It even had the
Um,
leaves hanging out the end of it. Yes.
yes, yes. So yeah, it was all very disturbing and very cruel to me in my mind, and then to hear people kind of um
Defending it.
coming back,
Yeah.
yeah, coming back after the fact and saying, oh, see there, like blah blah blah, whatever. And I I don't know. I was not a fan of that whole conversation.
Yeah, and I think it's unaffected people aren't affected, right? So it's one of those things where everyone's going to brush it off and say, "Oh, whatever," and it's because they're not affected by it or they've never
Yeah,
been in a position of having to feel like, you know, there's there's any reason that they should be affected by it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
you're not there are times when, people when you walk into a room and it's predominantly white or, not, people of color when they walk into rooms. If you're on Chick Chat and if you're listening to this, you can chime in and we can have this further discussion. But again, I don't want to get into like the political side of it because I'm not knowledgeable enough
Right,
about that stuff. But
right.
it's not uncommon for us to look around and be like, is there anybody else around here who's like, am I the only one? Or, like, am I welcome
Sure.
here? It's an uneasy feeling. And, that's not all the time. I'm not saying that happens 100% of the time. But, it's one of those things where people brush things off that to me are just kind of like, I mean, if I walked in this garage and I saw that, I'd be kind of maybe like, anybody seen this but me? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
so sure
Why is this here?
I'm not so sure I'm welcome here. It's an
Mm-hmm.
unwelcoming feeling. Like there's certain things that we just know if we walk into somewhere and we feel and we see something, we feel unwelcome. Confederate flags, KKK memorabilia, even people who are well intentioned but collect um those caricatures of with the history of the black mammies and cookie jars and those
Oh,
type of things, salt
right,
shakers.
right.
Even if you're a collector, I'm uncomfortable. Like
Mm-hmm.
to me, I'm like, that's
Yeah,
not something that we just have sitting around of our house.
yeah,
And it's not just white people who have it. I understand there's black people who have it too, but I'm still going, you know,
yeah,
things like that. That we're gonna look and be like, I'm not so sure I'm welcome here.
yeah. Makes
And so I
sense.
think it's just people understanding and being mindful. I would love a day where none of that is a discussion, but
Yeah.
that's where we are now. And I'm glad people are opening their eyes and going, I didn't realize that was offensive.
Yep,
And you're going,
yep.
yeah, it kind of was, but I know who you are. So I didn't take offense to it, but it is offensive.
Right, and doesn't mean it wasn't offensive to your
Right.
neighbor or
Right.
to the other person, right? Like everybody's takes things differently, you know?
Yeah.
And I think part of it, like you said, I mean, sometimes if someone does something, I'm not referring to the news because I don't see how that is just a natural way. But let's say something like the name the Dixie Chicks, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that they were sitting around thinking like, how can we be offensive
Right.
in naming our band?
Oh, no,
Um,
not at all.
but did they discover later that this was offensive to people, whoever it may be? Yes. And so that's why we applaud them for taking action with it. But
And,
do I think they
admittedly,
did
they
it
probably didn't have people
intentionally?
in their
No.
yeah, they probably didn't have people in their camp who were like, might want to go another route with this, right?
Right, right, sure. Plus, like we said, that band's been around a long time and they were young. Now, think about a band when they're starting out.
Yeah,
There's bands are in a garage sitting around talking about, like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a record one day? And so they practice and play in their basement or whatever, right? And they have to come up with the name because they don't have a team of PR execs like working out their name at first,
right.
you know. So yeah, again, applaud them for taking action on it, but I do believe that they didn't do it intentionally, but that's the type of reaction that can happen and can show people how easy it can be to be like, hey, we just don't want to even take any chances with it.
Yeah,
Instead of, saying we need to open up our garage door, so let's make a noose. Whatever. I'm not, again, not a big NASCAR follower, but I did see the parade video of, I say parade, but really it was the walk down the track. Did you see that video?
I did. that was very heartwarming, and you could tell he was overcome with emotion. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that was nice of Richard Petty, who hasn't been to a race in a while because of his age and because of COVID, to
Yeah.
come out and support
Yeah.
his driver. Um,
Yeah.
a lot
And
of people are,
it was
saying, "Oh, a lot of this for a guy who's never won a NASCAR race." That's not the point. We're not looking at wins
absolutely,
and loss columns for this. We're looking at humanity, and that's
that's
why I
right.
just try to stay off of things, because people are making arguments like it's not like he's the number one driver. It doesn't matter. He's
Who
there.
cares?
If he's
Yeah.
offended, then just stop it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was so happy to see. And I come from the land of NASCAR,
oh
right?
yeah,
Of
yeah,
stock car racing and stuff. So I actually have people that I went to college with, people I went to high school with, who actually work in the racing field now.
hmm,
They work for like teams or whatnot, and fairly successfully too. It's not that uncommon to know people now in that industry. Um, so yeah, I was just very, very happy to see that display. It was very, like you said, heartwarming, and um, a nice gesture on the whole industry as a whole.
oh yeah, and
Um,
kudos to NASCAR for taking such a quick stand against the Confederate flag. I mean,
swift,
I feel like
swift
that did not
action.
take any time at all once he said
No, it
something.
was swift action. It was an easy transition, and I also applaud them. Um, like you said, swift, didn't take much attention away from anything else. Let's just do what's right and move on, right?
Right. But yeah, I mean, I know we kind of veered off into sports and little political. Well, not really, but yeah, I mean, I applaud people who are looking at things. At some point, I do. It warrants a larger discussion too, and
Yeah,
I hope this makes more people feel welcome in different areas. It's
yeah,
I hope to one day it not be a big deal because there's a black guy who sings country or a black woman who sings country. I grew up, my grandpa listened to Charlie Pride all the time. So I'd be at my grandparents'
sure.
house and Charlie Pride. It's nothing for Charlie Pride to be, on the radio or on the 8 track or whatever they had at the time.
Right, right,
Um,
sure.
but it would be nice to, just not have to refer to things as the only or, the new or, it's just
Absolutely.
it I'm hopeful for my children's future because I do feel like the younger generation gets it more than we did, and maybe because they're further removed, they have access to so much more information than we did,
Hmm.
and we live in a more diverse society now, and we have
Yeah,
more access to diversity via travel and other things. And I mean, I'm this whole movement makes me hopeful for our future and
yeah,
our kids, because I really do feel like a majority of them are getting it, and
yeah.
they are just kind of like, why has this even been an issue for you guys? Like,
Right. Well, I will say um I had to explain to my daughter, my oldest daughter, what Black Lives Matter, the issues
yeah,
behind it.
hmm,
She had heard the term, but then to see um all the upswing, I guess you will, of attention to it. She kind of wanted to understand why this was happening, and
yeah,
I started telling her more about it, and I explained some of the things. Again, won't go into detail of stuff, but like explain some of the stuff, and it's just funny to like see, not funny, but it is interesting to see my kids' faces kind of look at me like so confused about why
yeah,
this is an issue, and they
right,
just, it does not comprehend with them. I mean, my daughter, my oldest daughter, her best friend here, who was one of her newest friends, when we moved out to Washington, one of her first friends, now her best friend, is African American who has been adopted and actually has white parents
uh-huh,
and has a second adopted sister. So they are both black, but they are not related.
okay,
And then the family has 2 children of their own by birth. And so there's 4 kids. And, it's a unique situation, but it's beautiful. But what's so beautiful about it is that my daughter didn't think that much of it.
Right. She's like, I
You
have a
know, like,
friend. Yeah.
right. It just wasn't that big of a deal. And yeah, like it was that I think, I did not realize that her friend was Black until I saw her like months after at school after Charlotte had been talking about her that long. Does that make sense? Because it's not like she comes home and says, my friend's Black.
My Black friend Sandy.
Yeah. She didn't say any of that. So instead you get to school and it's like, oh, she is, but I mean, okay, but it's not like she told me, and because she doesn't feel the need to, because that's just not how you do it. And so it's truly eye-opening when you have kids, and so yeah, the whole thing, I mean, I'm like you, I'm kind of hopeful that this is a change for some of I know can't teach an old dog new tricks on some of these people, I get that, but like,
Yeah.
man, we can try,
Oh,
and then to have our future be well aware of how to react to this and how horrible this all is, then that gives me hope.
Oh yeah, I mean, our kids are probably going to be teaching us some things because I think I've told you before how my daughter, I'll be trying to explain who I'm talking about, somebody if we're talking about someone, and I'm like, that girl over there, or that one girl who you were doing this with, and she can't understand, and I'll be like, either the Black girl with the blue shirt on, or the white girl with the
Right.
ponytail, and she's like, first of all, her name is whatever, and it's
Yeah.
not nice to refer to people by their race. And I'm like, well, you didn't understand who I was talking about. So
I was just using descriptions, that's all.
she's not Black, Mom. She's brown. I was like, okay, well, if
Oh
we're
my gosh,
like out of the color box, then you're right. But I'm just saying,
so funny.
like, all right, I just don't even want to. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I don't even.
I know. I know. You're like, no. If you only knew how much I was trying to not say her color to you right now.
If you would just
But
understand the clues I'm giving you.
Clearly, we have to be more
Girl,
descriptive
white
now.
girl. Mary Margaret gets it when I say, the one, that guy.
We say it all the time on the show, and we can't even see each other. We're doing it remotely. That guy that starred in that thing that dated that
They're on
girl.
that show in that one year
You
on that
know.
one network.
You know.
Oh my gosh, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, let me bring up something in a little lightheartedness here.
Okay. Yes.
Although I think we've done a fairly good job of not being too deep, but just touching on stuff enough. I did want to, obviously I don't have too much entertainment news to report because there's just not a lot of stuff going on.
Not a lot of happy stuff. I mean,
No. Oh, I could talk about nasty stuff all day long, but I just don't have a lot of like fun shows to report on or movies and stuff because that part of our life is just not the same right now, right?
right.
But I did find pretty funny by a guy named Joe Kaysen who has a blog that just talks about all things that he wants to or whatever. But I came across a list that he's put together about how you can have fun even during a pandemic.
Oh, okay.
And he's given some suggestions. And some of them are a little, jabby and fun, but other ones I thought maybe I could share with you, and you can tell me if you've done any of them or if you would like to do some of them. Because again, the masks are out now. The masks are mandated in Washington. I know they are going into North Carolina. What, today?
Today at 5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So wear your mask. We have to wear one here. You guys are going to be wearing one there. Just wear the mask. Like, just do it for a while if you want things to start returning to normal.
Please,
Like,
my kids can go to school. Really
I
need my
just
kids to go to
don't want
school.
to homeschool. I don't want to not have vacations. I don't want to ever not get on a plane again. Like, I need you to just put on a mask and just deal with it when you're standing next to somebody that's not in your family. Like, that's how this works, right?
Yes.
If you can stay 6 feet away from people, you don't have to do it. But like, if you are out, there are going to be people walking past you. Just put the damn mask on for a few minutes until you get to like your car or your safe place, like whatever. Just put on the mask. Anyway, I digress. Here's what I think you can do on some of this time while you should be at home, so that if you don't want to wear your mask, you can just sit in your house. Here's some things to do. Watch all 289 episodes of Live PD. Have you ever watched Live PD, Janette?
Not only have I watched Live PD, I was on an episode of Live PD.
Shut up. What?
I mean, kind of, sort of. I
Um,
thought I told you this.
why am I just now learning about
No,
this?
it wasn't like I wasn't the one in trouble.
Uh-huh.
It was back in February, and
This year?
of this year, yeah, right before it was actually right before the shutdown,
Jeanette,
like 2 or 3
what
weeks
is going
before.
on?
Well, again, it wasn't me. I thought I told you this. We were at a soccer weekend. We were in South Carolina in the Columbia. Were we in Columbia? Yeah, the Columbia area. And that's one of the locations they film my PD. And I had jokingly said, because we go to South Carolina a lot, oh, I wonder if we'll ever see an episode of Live PD being filmed or whatever. So we pull into our parking lot after a team dinner to the hotel, and our parking lot was shared with another hotel. And I pulled in, and where I was parking was actually where they were filming. They had a guy in handcuffs. I jokingly said as we pulled in, because I saw the cop lights, to my daughter, I was like, "Oh, look, Live PD." And then as we were getting out, I was like, "Oh no, it's for real Live PD." And my daughter was like, "For
What?
real?" So yeah, so they were arresting this guy who had left their child in the car while they ran up
Oh,
into the other hotel, and someone concerned called because they see a car running, and then they peek in the window and notice a child in the car, and in the front seat they can see a gun. So they called the police,
oh,
and the police come out. They arrest this guy. I think they had ended up after that they ended up finding drugs in his car as well. So he actually went to jail, but you can see my car coming in, and then like slightly us, you can't see our faces obviously because we didn't sign anything. And we actually, the episode came on like 45 minutes after this happened. And um yeah, so you can see like kind of the back end of my car pulling in and us getting out of the car.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love it.
And what the
I
funny
had no
part
idea.
is like everybody was out in the parking lot of our hotel, because they weren't staying in our hotel, they were staying in the other hotel, and
Yeah.
everyone's in the parking lot of our hotel just watching. And then the cops afterwards, another cop car took the guy away, and the child, there was family member, I guess the guy had family members up in the hotel, so the child ended up going with them. Um, but the arresting officers stayed behind and took selfies with everybody.
No.
Yeah, they were actually really
Oh my
nice.
gosh, it's hilarious.
It was so funny, and there were like 3 or 4 film crew, and so the only way
Yeah.
that you can tell that they're not with the police is that they have on this vest that says, I forget what it says now, but it basically says, I don't know, it's like video, but they're dressed in all black, they have the cameras. I think it says staff. I think their back says staff or something like that. But yeah, they were in a van, and I guess that's where they do their editing. And there was like
That,
3 or 4 people and 2 cameras, one from each angle.
that is crazy.
It was
Thank you for the
hilarious.
live recount. Like, I had no idea. And yeah, this guy says there's 289 episodes. So I would bet, I bet there's probably other people out there listening to this right now that have been on that show.
Oh yeah,
So
it's a bystander or their car. Like that's my car right there.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, give us a shout if you've been on Live PD. Which episode? We'll totally look it up. You and Janette can have your 15 minutes of fame from that. Some more fun things to do while on during a pandemic. Learn a new language. My sister-in-law is actually doing this.
Oh yeah.
She's teaching herself Spanish because she was kind of bored.
Okay. How's it
So
going?
she works in education, and so it was one of the things suggested to some of the teachers whenever they were kind of released. With she works in the technology portion of it, and so she's not like doesn't necessarily have like full-time students,
Uh-huh.
but she's still obviously a part of the administration for the school.
Okay.
So when she gets sent home, because there's no kids in the school, like she kind of did her part in getting the iPad set up and everything for the kids to have at home and all. But after that, it's like she has to kind of do some teacher development things. And so she asked if she could start teaching herself Spanish. And that's what she's doing.
Is it going
So,
well or has she learned
um,
anything?
I think so. She's super smart, so she'll probably be like fluent next week or something. But if you aren't familiar with the app Duolingo, that's a super fun app to get and try to teach yourself a new language. It's very easy. And in fact, my daughter's Spanish class uses that app for drills at home.
My daughter has
Um,
used it to try to learn Korean, but she should
yeah,
probably do it to try to, like your daughter, try to work on her Spanish, like because she is taking that in school too. I
yeah,
would like to do that. Either take more Spanish. I've taken some Spanish classes, and I used to be
yeah,
fluent in French, but I just never used it enough. I
yeah.
can understand it now when you speak it. I just can't speak it back to you fast enough because I have to like
Wow.
go through my yeah. And some of the
Yeah,
understanding, like some of the understanding is a little iffy too. Sometimes I do have to do translations,
sure.
but I would love to pick that back up too.
Definitely. Well, like I said, Duolingo is the jam. It's super fun and easy. My daughter will do it, and then my younger daughter, who is not old enough really where they're offering these classes yet in her school, she wanted the app because she was doing some of the drills that Charlotte was doing. So she's even started doing it on her own. Um,
Oh,
so I
okay.
think that's cool. Yeah, Duolingo, learn a
I'm gonna
language,
download it now.
get productive. Um, another tip says you can download TikTok and then keep it hidden in a folder because you're embarrassed that you downloaded it.
Not gonna lie,
Do
it's
you
on my phone.
do you have TikTok?
I do, but only because my sister keeps sending me videos on TikTok, not of her, but of funny things that she sees on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up I don't have an account or anything. It's just the TikTok app.
Same. That's what I do, and I only open it when everybody else in the house is asleep.
It's your guilty pleasure.
It is a little bit. I kind of forget that I have it every once in a while because I'm not active on it. Like I don't have videos or anything,
Yeah.
and I don't have an account, like you said. So it's just more going and like you just scroll through the little news feed or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, whatever. It's funny to watch some of some. There are genuinely some that make me chuckle, and so as we've said plenty of times this episode, if we need anything for a chuckle right now, then bring it on. So let's see what else. You can go to Yale, Yale University
Uh-huh.
online and take the free happiness and well-being course.
Okay.
Yeah, Yale offers a free online happiness and well-being course. I don't know what that looks like or like why. Oh, wait, here, I just found it. It says, in this course, you will engage in a series of challenges designed to increase your own happiness and build more productive habits. As preparation for these tasks, Professor Lori Santos reveals misconceptions about happiness, annoying features of the mind that lead us to think the way we do, and the research that can help us change. You will ultimately be prepared to successfully incorporate a specific wellness activity into your life.
Okay.
It's free. And then you would have a class by Yale. Yeah.
Can I put that on my resume? Yale
That's what I
educated.
was about to say. Like, maybe you could do this. She's listed as a top instructor too.
See?
So anyway, yeah, I think that would be, I don't know. Why not? I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I've taken some classes at Yale,
Hey, good for you
so
at Yale.
yeah.
I haven't quite completed my degree yet, but I've been to Yale.
But I've been taking my graduate courses at Yale.
That's right.
They're like, what are you getting your degree? And I'm like, happiness.
And well-being.
Jeez. Yeah. So yeah, you can go and look that up. It's a free class there if anybody wants to do it. You could write a blog, start a blog. You could learn how to tame a horse in Minecraft. Do your kids play Minecraft?
My daughter has done it. I don't think she does it anymore.
Yeah, mine as well. Dabbled in it a little bit, but I think she got frustrated with the horses. And this is funny because this was learn to tame a horse in Minecraft. It must be an ordeal. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know anything about it, but apparently
I'm gonna
Minecraft
pass
can
on
help
that
you
one.
pass the time.
Yeah, I'm passing on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Do a fast family history search. There's a lot of the Ancestry and all those places that are offering some free or like discounted rates for things because of people being home.
Okay.
So they said you can go and do some fast family history search. Have you ever done like Ancestry or any of that?
No.
No. I have personally not, but I've had some family members do it. I mean, like, I don't know. If I'm gonna learn it, like I wanna go deep, but that stuff's expensive.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to give my spit to do anything. I'm kind of pushing one of my either my sister or my brother to do it. That way I don't have to. But like whatever
Agree.
you are, I am. So
Yeah.
just one of you guys do it and then we can go that route. But no, I mean, I haven't. My daughter has been really interested in it because they have to, they start that around middle school doing the family tree stuff. So
Yes.
she's been looking and asking questions, and I'm like, I have some of the answers, but then the other stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same as you. It's kind of like a boat or a pool. Like I don't want to own a boat or a pool, but I want to have friends that have boats and pools.
Right.
So like I don't want to do the Ancestry, but I'd love to have a family member do it and I'll just kind of piggyback.
Right. Yeah. Why
Yeah.
do you need to do it if they've already done it?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Don't need my spit in a tube. I'll just say like, oh, you got roots in Egypt? Cool. I do too then.
Then that would be me.
Well, that's all I have for some extra unique things that you can do for the pandemic. And I know that this episode has kind of gone on a little bit. We had to address some of these topics, that we had to say something. We had to kind of address the ridiculousness of some of the stuff happening in this world right now. Because unfortunately, it's very real, and we want to be part of the change. We want to be part of the movement. ChickChat is wanting to just talk about entertainment stuff, and we really just want to get back to that. So if everyone could just play nice, that would be awesome. So if we could play nice and wear a mask, I kind of feel like that might be our new mantra.
Yes, be nice and wear a mask.
Be nice, wear a mask. Yeah. So thanks for chatting about this today, and thanks for being super candid and honest.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was a great conversation. It was needed. We get our serious stuff out of the way, then we come back to the fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm still a little torn up that you broke this episode in with talking about Mike Boogie and Dr. Will. But whatever. I'm still a little in shock, but maybe I'll go watch their montage to ease myself out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did want to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode, Time Genie's concierge service. I know I mentioned this to you before, but in case people were curious, Time Genie's is an amazing company out there. I've actually used them several times. One of them, the most recent time being when I was moving, and we actually had not just them come over and clean our house to get it move out ready, but we actually had one of the girls came over and helped us pack. She wrapped all of my glassware and did the boxes, which honestly, I can't stand like moving boxes and doing all that crap. I just want to snap my fingers and be there. So we hired them, had them do it. Their concierge service, they can do any kinds of errands for you. It's a great business. Karen, who runs the joint, is just amazing, and she's got a super fun accent. She's from Scotland, and it's amazing. But yeah, so shout out to Time Genies. Thanks for sponsoring the episode. I hope everybody will go check them out at time-genies.com. Janette, I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah, we're getting in the middle of summer here, and I just hope everybody can follow the new ChickChat rules. Be nice, wear a mask, wash your hands, play well with others, and keep listening to ChickChat.
Oh, was that for me? I thought you were ending. I'm sorry.
No, we could totally end it with that.
Sorry, I thought you were ending.
That was dramatic though, right? We can just end it with that. Moose, is that okay? You can leave that whole thing in. Okay, whatever. All right, Janette, way to go. Hey, everybody, including Moose and Janette, thanks for listening to ChickChat. Thanks for listening to ChickChat on the Mesh.tv. Check out all of our other shows over at themesh.tv. If you have any questions, follow-up, comments, questions, please shoot us an email at info@themesh.tv. Otherwise, everybody, we'll catch you on the flip side.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.